So first of all, let's save our file. So we go to File, Save a Copy, Browse. We can save on desktop, and then let's say Sales Performance Dashboard 2. But in the Save As type, because we want to insert a macro, we want to insert a VBA, we have to save the file as Excel Macro Enabled Workbook. So we have saved our file as Excel Macro Enabled Workbook. So first of all, in the first button, which is the General Overview, I want to make this a link or hyperlink. So I'll right click and then go to the link. In the link, I'll go to the place in this document because I want to refer this button to this page, this exact page. So I want this page, that is the dashboard page. So the link has been created. So now if you click on it, you see that it's in this page. It's directed to this page. So you go to the second one. With this, we can go to the developer tab, go to Visual Basic, we go to Insert, and then we create a new model. You can of course rename the model as how you want it. So our first button is our Outlook email. So let's go to the, let's go here. We already have our models created. So let me just copy the code. Let's paste it here. Let's go through the code line by line. So first of all, in the code, we start by, that is the sub email with Outlook. So first of all, we want to create a variable. We have to declare some variables. So we want to dimension out app as object. You should know all the object browsers for VBA. And then you can watch out for my VBA course coming very soon. So we will dimension WB as workbook, or you can just change it to anyhow that you want. And then the file name as a string because it's going to be a character string of characters. And our second line of code, we will turn off the screen updating. So we'll say that the application.screen updating should be false, should not be true. And then in the third part of our code, we make a copy of the active sheet. So we say that the active sheet dot copy, and then we set our workbook. We've already declared WB. So anywhere that in any line of the code we can use WB because it's a variable that we have declared. So we say that we set WB as the active workbook. So we set the active sheet as the active workbook, and the file name I want to specify. So you can just change the file name anyhow you want. For example, RX tutorials sales dashboard or sales performance dashboard, anyhow you want it. So we name it, it's going to be an Excel file. So that's a file name extension for Excel. So what we are going to do is when we create this file, we want to delete the temporary file so that it will only create an attachment to the email. So we'll just insert this line of code that on error kill. So we'll specify the file name. So for example, my desktop, I can specify my desktop. So let's say this is my OneDrive and then desktop. So we specify the desktop. So our file is going to be saved on the desktop, and then we concatenate this with the file name because we've already declared the file name as a string. And then in the last part of our code, we are going to create the email outlook. So we are going to set the out app, and we've already declared our out apps as object. So we create the outlook dot application. In creating the outlook dot application, you can specify the various department, that is where we want to send to. So you can change this. The email, we specify the email we want to send it to. The subject, I would want to send it with the subject sales performance dashboard. And then we are going to create an attachment, that is we are going to add the workbook, the temporary workbook that we've created as an attachment. And in the body, we can specify, these are all strings of text, so you can specify anything. And then I want you to download this book, and don't forget to subscribe to my channel. That's the body, and it's very important. So we can end with, because we opened with the with, so we end with, in this case, that is with mail out mail. So let me set this clear. Yeah, so this line, the end with, closes this open statement. In our next line of code, we are going to say that we are going to delete the temporary file, and then we are going to specify the file name, and then we are not going to save any changes. In the last part, we are going to restore our screen updating and release Outlook. So we say application of screen updating is true, and then we are going to set the outmail and the out app to nothing. So that's a bit about the code. If you have any questions, you can comment below the video, and then I'll gladly answer. So that is that. So we can save this, and then we can go to the next line of code. We go to the next line of code. Here we go to the next line of code, that is print chart. So I can as well go here, click on the send mail, assign macro. So in the macro, we have just, that is email with Outlook, and I'll say okay. So in this case, because you have written the code for the send mail, once I click, it opens the Outlook and then attaches the file as an attachment. So let's now save this. So we are going to go to the print chart as well. We go to developer, we go to the Visual Basic, we go here, insert model, and then we are going to create another model. But in this case, we are going to copy this line of code. It's really simple code. In this line of code, the first line of, we are going to, first of all, I want it to print in such a way that we are going to set the page to a landscape. You can as well set the page to a portrait format, so you can change this line of code to Excel the portrait. But I want it in a landscape because the dashboard is quite wide. And then this line of code prints out the sheet, the active sheet. So active sheet don't print out. So that is that. So we can save that. We close, and then we go to assign macro, and then we go to print active sheet. So right now we have inserted our print chart line of code. So we are going to the refresh all button. We go to Visual Basic again. We go to insert. and then we can insert a new model. Let me close this one. And in this model we can copy this line of code and paste it here. So what these lines of code is really simple. We are going to refresh all pivot table. So we are going to dimension PC as pivot cache. So you can just change this to anyhow. Let's say you dimension this as PD. So for each PD in this workbook, the pivot, so change this as, because we declared this as pivot cache, just dimension declarations. So we can as well change this, and then we end the sub. This really simple line of code. We can save this and go to this button, go to assign macro, and then we are going to assign macro to refresh all pivot cache. In our lesson 9, we are going to generate PDF. So we go to, we've already opened the Visual Basic, and then we copy same model 6. We copy this line of code, go to insert, and go to model. In this line of code, we are going to create, first of all, we assign variables. So we are going to dimension the save location, because we are going to save this file as a string. So we have to specify our where we are going to save the file. So we specify the file path, that is c.uses, that's my desktop name rado, and then we save it on OneDrive in the desktop. So this is just a file path, and this is the file extension. So if you don't know, you can as well go to your desktop, and then you can check the file path. So you can right click on your desktop, go to properties, and check the file path. So we are going to save our active sheet as a PDF. So in this case, we write the line of codes, the active sheet dot export as a fixed format, and in our type we are going to specify that our type is Excel type PDF. So this is a line break to this. So we specify our file name as save location. Why are we saying save location? Because we have already specified or declared save location as a string, and we are saying that our save location is equal to the disk file path. So what this line of code is saying is that the file name is equal to this. Is equal to this, because we've already declared that the save location is equal to this file path. And then after it is saved, I just want a simple line of code that I want a message box. So in this message box, I just declare a string of characters or a string of text, and I want it to say that file has been saved. So you can just edit this file has been saved. Are you enjoying or following the video? Yeah, so we can specify any string of text in the bracket. So we can save this, yeah, close this, and then we can go to assign macro, and then we are going to assign it to sales performance save active worksheet. So now let's check if all our buttons are working. So this send mail opens the Outlook mail and attaches the file sheet or the active worksheet, and then we are going to save and then print our chart. So we can save it anyhow, save it on the desktop, and then we print our chart as well. we are going to click here. This is going to refresh our data. If we add a new data, or it's the same way when you go to data, we also have refresher, which this also refreshes all the data as well. But if you want to make it a little bit fancy, we can create this button and then put in the line of code I just did, and then it will refresh all the pivot table. And this line of code will save and generate a PDF and save on the file that I specified. In my case, I saved it on the desktop, so it's going to save on the desktop. So as you can see, my file, that's the sales performance, is saved on my desktop. So all our codes are working. So first of all, so in this one, I want to click on the slices because I want to report the connections. So I'll connect all the slices to all the pivot tables that I created. So everything is selected. I click on this, go to report connections, select all the tables. So okay, so now if I filter, everything dynamically changes. If I filter by this, because it's connected to all the tables, everything dynamically changes. So we are almost through. All our buttons are working. We have our pivot tables, we have our charts, all our slices are dynamic. So in the last part of the video, I want to insert, because I want to protect this worksheet, so we can as well hide all this. We can hide all that. Yeah, and then we can as well hide this. So we only have the dashboard. So in our next line of code, in our next line of action, I want to provide a user form or a login form. So I'll go to my developer, go to Visual Basic, and I'll go to insert and then user form. So a new user form pops up. So let me resize this. Let me resize this. Can click on the form. Right click on the form, go to properties. So the properties pane pops up. I can change this to 300. Yeah, let's make it a little wider. So I can close this for now and then click on my toolbox. It's here. In my toolbox, I want to provide a label. First label name. So I can just duplicate this, name this password. Yeah, let's select the label, go to properties, and let me change the font. I'll choose Times New Roman bold, and the size I want to make it 12 to make it bold. So I'll do the same for this one as well. Times New Roman, I'll choose the font style, I'll make it bold, and the size I'll make it 12. So it's a little bit okay. And then I'll insert a text box. So as you can see, this is the text box right beside the label. It's a text box. I'll insert a text box. I can copy the text box and duplicate this. So let's copy the text box and duplicate this as well. fact, you can see you can put any string of characters in the text box, but I want to change the font as well. So I select the text box, go to the font because I want it bigger. Times New Roman. No, I'll make it normal regular, but I'll make the size 12 so that when you input your name, it's going to be bigger. So same as this, I'll change this to Times New Roman. I'll change it to 12. So that is okay. Then insert I'll insert an image, that is my password image. So with the image selected, right click to open the properties pane, and with the picture I want to select a picture, so it takes me to my logo file. Let me change the picture. So that's picture. Let's go to desktop, my tools, this. So let me change the picture. So let me go to this rather. And then with the picture size mode, I want to change from the clip mode to the stretch mode, so it makes it. With the picture selected, I go to the properties pane. I want to remove the border, so I go the border style. I set it to none, so it's white. I select the user form, and with the user form, the back color, I want to set this to white as well. Next, I want to insert a label that will display my logo. So I click on the label icon. Yeah, with this, I want any text. Let's right click to open the properties, and I go to the picture. I want to insert so it fits. I can as well enlarge this. I can reposition this as well. So our next line will insert a command button. So let's insert a command button. We are going to rename this as a login. Go to the font because I want to make it bigger. Make it Times New Roman. We'll make it regular. Make it 12. So it's bigger now. So we can select our user form, and then we can run it either by F5 or we can click the play button here. Just see how our user form looks now. So it means that currently our user form is like this. So let's see. Yeah, it's okay. Yeah, it's okay. So, and then because we've not inserted any code, when we click the command button, nothing happens. So we can change this. We can change the heading or the name of the form. So let's go to the properties with the name. Let's change this to login password. Yeah, because there has to be an underscore login password. And in our caption, The caption we can change it to login password as well, but we can still maintain this. Let's use so that we don't get confused. User form 1 or password form. Let's use password form 1, and then our caption will be our login password. So we have our user form or our login password ready, and then we want to add our line of code to this. So we click on the command button and then we select view code. So this opens out the command button click. So what this means is that when we click this button, what action or what should happen? So we are going to write our code, and in our code we are going to dimension. Let me make it this. We are going to dimension our user. So because we have our name and user, so we are going to dimension our user as well as our password. We are going to dimension it as a string because it's going to be a test, so a string of characters. And then what we are going to say is that let our password equals to me dot text box 1. We can rename our text box. We can rename our text box in our password form 1, but we just left it to be text box 1. So me dot password is equal to me dot text box. No, actually our password is our text box 2. Sorry about that. Text box 2 dot test. So what this line of code simply means is that this password should always be equal to the value or the text that we provide in that text box. So when we go back to our password form, so you see that this, when you go to properties, this is our text box 1, and when we click here, this is our text box 2. So actually so any value or any text that we write in this text box 2, that should be our password. So let's continue. So we go to our next line of code, and then we are going to say that user also is equal to, so it's just about, just repeat this. You can just copy this and just paste it here, and then we can change this to be text box 1. So this line of code also means that our user is going to be the text that we provide in text box 1. That is going to be our user text. So our next line of, so what we are going to write an if statement. And what we are going to say that if our password is equal to, so in this case we are not going to provide a variable password where we can provide a database of the users and their passwords, but in this case we are just going to provide just one password so that we can log in with that password. We don't want to make our dashboard more complicated, so we are going to make it one password. So we are going to say that if our password is equal to, so if our password is equal to, so let's write if our password is equal to rx tutorials. Yeah, if our password is equal to rx tutorials, so we close the bracket, then we can write a message box password or login. Let's login is, that's our message. Login is successful. So what this line of code means, we are opening an if statement. So what we are saying that if the password, and we have declared we have said that our password is equal to any text that we provide, the value of the text that we provide here, and then we are writing an if statement to clarify this, and then we are going to say that if our password is equal to this, that is RX tutorials, then message box, our login is successful. And then what do we want to happen? So we want to unload. So what this simply means that this is going to open up, or is going to give you access, that is unload me, it's going to give you access to the dashboard. But what happens if the password is wrong? Else, so we are going to write that else, then message box, message board, please enter the correct password. So so this is a simple line of code that explains that if this password is specified in this text box 2, then the login or the password, the login or the user form should grant access or should unload, that is, it should clear. If not, then if the wrong password is entered, then there should be a pop-up message that says that please enter the correct password. And then we are going to say that, then we are going to close this. That is our active workbook close close. So what we are saying is that when a wrong password is entered, then we are going to provide a message that please enter the correct password, and then we will close our active workbook. So let's keep it simple that way. We can make it more complicated by providing login attempts, line of codes to provide login attempts, but in this case, let's make it simple as that. So we can end our if statement, and we already have our end answer. So that is okay. So we can save that. So we have written our code for our login. So currently our login will be working. So in this case, let me write record. Password is, take note, because we specified our password, we have to write exact way, even with the caps. If you make it small letters, then it's not going to grant you access. So we write it exactly as we specified in our code. So we specify the R is capital and the rest is small caps. So RX tutorial. So once we click, so it is correct, then the message pops up, login is successful, and then it gives us access to the. So that is that for our user form. And then we want to let this pop-up message, or let this user form pop up when we open the workbook. So what we are going to do is we are going to click on the workbook. We are going to click on the workbook, and in this workbook, and in this we are going to declare that. So we can choose our workbook open. So when our workbook opens, what do we want to see? When our workbook opens, we want our password, and the name of our, we name our password here, password form 1. So when our workbook opens, I want password form 1 to show. So This is the simple line of code. So this self-explanatory. So when our workbook open, show this password, and the other line of code applies when this is showed to the user. So let's save our workbook. Let's save this and we can close this. Let's go to our desktop. We have our file here. So once we open the file, the login form pops up like we specified, and then we can input our password. Login is successful. So we have access to our dashboard. So yeah, this is the end of the video. Remember to subscribe to my channel, hit the like button, and then watch out for more exciting videos. Bye.